Hello and welcome to CVAT Academy, your go-to training hub for mastering data annotation with CVAT. In this video, we'll take a look at the brush tool. We'll examine how labeling with a brush works, try various drawing modes, and see what kind of objects and use cases this tool is best suited for. Let's dive right in.
Using the brush tool, we can draw masks on an image. Masks essentially serve the same purpose as polygons, allowing us to annotate an object while excluding all backgrounds. However, there are differences in the annotation process between masks and polygons, as well as pros and cons, which we will discuss in this video. The brush tool is located on the toolbar here, marked with a brush icon. We activate it by clicking on Shape. After that, the brush tool menu appears, which contains additional settings for this tool. The brush tool menu can be moved by clicking and dragging this spot with a left mouse button. Clicking on the check mark completes the mask annotation, while clicking on the plus sign allows you to finish the current mask annotation and immediately start annotating a new mask for another object. Next, there are the brush and eraser tools, both of which allow you to select brush size and shape. Following the brush and eraser, there is the polygon tool. With the polygon marked with a plus sign, we add a mask. With the minus sign, we remove the mask from the specified area. This button activates the Remove Underlying Pixels function. When enabled, you can draw a mask over an existing one, and the new mask will delete all overlapping pixels from the old mask. We will examine this function in detail in the second part of this video. Clicking on the eye icon allows you to hide the mask's visibility. Lastly, in this menu we can change the label. The brush tool supports two modes for drawing masks, using a brush or a polygon. By default, the brush is activated. Here, we can manually adjust the brush size in pixels or use the Alt plus right mouse click combination to resize the brush by moving the cursor to the right to increase its size or to the left to reduce it. To draw a mask with the brush, press and hold the left mouse button. The brush has two shapes, circle and square. You can change the shape here. Let's switch it to square. To erase part of the drawn mask, use the eraser. The eraser also supports both brush shapes. Let's annotate a circle. We can do this quite quickly. Let's increase the brush size and draw the mask by clicking the left mouse button. This circle has a hole in the center, so we can use the eraser to remove the mask in that area. To save the mask, press the N key or click the check mark in the brush tool menu. Let's take a closer look at the mask. Unlike polygons, masks allow you to create holes within them, meaning that if there is a background inside the shape, we can cut it out. This is one of the main differences and advantages of the brush tool over polygons, as polygons in CVAT do not support this feature. A mask, like other shapes, has all the standard properties: lock, occlude, hide, and pin. As with polygons, masks have the pin property enabled by default. Therefore, if you need to move a mask, you must first disable the pin property. When hovering the mouse pointer over a mask, a bounding box appears around the mask, indicating its boundaries. Unlike polygons, a single mask can annotate multiple objects at once, or a single object, that is, for example, divided into several parts by other objects, that is, occluded by them. Let's annotate two more circles. As before, we first adjust the brush size to match the size of the object, and then draw the mask by clicking with the left mouse button. After that, we switch to the eraser and also adjust its size to match the hole in the circle. Once we've drawn the second circle, we won't save the mask, but will immediately proceed to drawing the third circle. For the third circle, we'll repeat the same steps. When the final circle is drawn, we'll save the mask. Now we have three annotated circles. Visually, it may seem like these are three different objects, but if we look at the Objects panel, we can see only two objects. Let's hover over these objects to see the mask boundaries. The second mask covers two objects at once. Since both objects have the same label, their colors in the workspace are the same. To distinguish them visually, we can change the color by label setting in the Appearance menu to Instance. Each object, or mask in this case, will have its own color. In this mode, you can also change an object's color manually to a more contrasting one if needed. Choose it via the Object menu. Alternatively, you can select a random color by pressing Enter. Like polygons, masks support the Slice tool. The Slice tool is very convenient in situations where a mask needs to be divided into two parts. Let's split these two circles into two separate masks using the Slice tool. The Slice tool is located on the toolbar here. Click on it to activate it. Then click on the object you want to slice. You can also activate the Slice tool by pressing Alt+J. Draw a line between the objects. This way we have split one mask into two. In addition to dividing masks into parts, you can merge multiple masks into one. To do this, use the Join Masks tool. This tool is located on the toolbar here, or you can activate it by pressing J. Now click on the masks you want to join with the left mouse button. When a mask is selected, it is highlighted in white. Select all the objects. To finish the joining process, press J again. Using a brush to draw masks is convenient for rough annotations or simple shapes like circles or squares. With a brush, such shapes can be annotated in just a few clicks. If more precise annotation of complex objects is required, annotating with a brush may take a lot of time. For such cases, it is better to use the Polygon mode for drawing masks. Let's activate the Brush tool and choose Polygon in the Brush tool menu. Let's annotate an object. The process here is no different from how a regular polygon is annotated. Once we finish drawing the polygon, press N to convert it into a mask. Then press N again to complete the annotation and save the mask. Masks do not have vertex points like polygons, so they cannot be edited in the same way as polygons. Instead, masks have a separate editing mode. To activate it, select Edit in the Object menu, or hold Shift and double-click the object. This will open the Brush tool menu, allowing us to add details to the object or remove excess areas in the mask. To save the changes, click the check mark or press N. We cannot use the automated bordering feature for masks to annotate two objects without overlaps and gaps. However, for this purpose, we can use the Remove Underlying Pixels function. Let's annotate this object again, but this time we don't need to annotate the shared boundary between the two objects. We will annotate this part like this. Now let's annotate the second object. Remember to enable Remove Underlying Pixels. This can be done at any time before saving the mask, but it's best to enable it in advance. Let's hide the already drawn mask to improve the visibility of the outline for this sphere. In this case, we are annotating a part of the mask over an already drawn mask. Now that we've finished drawing the polygon for the sphere, we'll enable the mask's visibility and see that these two masks overlap. Save the new mask by pressing the N key. This mask will trim the other mask, creating a clean boundary between the two objects. Annotate the next object in the same way. If we accidentally disable this function and save the annotation, we will see an overlap between the masks. We can still trim the mask. Switch to Edit mode for the last mask, enable Remove Underlying Pixels, and save the mask. This trims the mask. Using this sequence is convenient for annotating objects that are occluded by already annotated objects, as in this case. There are two more objects here without masks, but the objects in front of them have already been annotated. Let's annotate these two objects, but first, disable Remove Underlying Pixels. We deliberately create overlaps between the masks to avoid leaving gaps. Now we will sequentially trim the new masks by switching to Edit mode for the previous masks. Simply activate Edit mode and save the masks. When trimming masks in this way, carefully monitor the sequence. Use the masks in the foreground to trim the masks in the background. Otherwise, the mask will be trimmed incorrectly. Let's switch color by to instance to better visualize the boundaries of the objects. Enable Show Bitmap, and we can see that there are no gaps between the masks. It is important to use the Remove Underlying Pixels function with caution, as in some cases you may accidentally delete masks, especially those hidden by the Hide property or an active filter. While masks may be visually hidden, they can still be trimmed or deleted. Let's apply a filter to hide annotated objects. To hide all the masks, we will apply a filter with this rule. This rule will display only rectangles while all other shapes will be hidden. Now let's try drawing a mask over this area and save it. We see a warning that some objects were deleted. Let's remove the filter and check. Indeed, the new mask trimmed and deleted the masks in this area. Moreover, when Remove Underlying Pixels is enabled, it continues to work not only during mask editing, but also while moving the mask. If we disable the pinned property and move a mask over another, it will trim or delete the underlying mask entirely if it overlaps it. For this reason, be careful when using this function to avoid accidentally losing part of the annotated data. The brush tool offers extensive capabilities for working with masks, allowing for quick and efficient annotation of objects of varying complexity. Its flexibility in settings, such as brush selection, drawing mode, or using features to remove overlapping pixels, makes it an indispensable tool in many scenarios. However, when using it, exercise caution, especially when enabling the Remove Underlying Pixels function to avoid data loss. Use this tool to optimize your annotations and make your work more convenient and precise. Thank you for your attention, and see you in the next videos.